Hello and welcome to the BS Podcast, where we talk the absurd, the ridiculous, and yes, the bullshit. Hi, Dave here from Informed American, joined by my cohort, my fellow connoisseur in bullshit, Zach. Zach, how you doing today, buddy?
Good, man. You know, I've been looking forward to this over the entire weekend because we have got a fucking doozy of an episode. I feel like all weekend we've been sending stories to each other saying like, oh, we got to talk about this on a Tuesday morning.
Yeah, particularly with our lead-off story, with just a little hint there, we are counting down the top 5 bullshittiest stories of the week. Zach, you want me to run through our 5 stories?
Run through them.
All right, we got opening weekend in baseball. We get a comment from New York Governor Cuomo about what is appropriate level of food service to qualify to also serve along with bars and restaurants. We've got more UFO news, Zach. We've got a Minnesota couple. I'm just going to leave that one aside. A Minnesota couple in Walmart did something. We'll just wait for that one and tease it. And mysterious seeds showing up all around the United States. Another bizarre story. So we're going to count those 5 down, of course, helped by our official BS-ometer, Zach.
That's right. You know, it's funny you said a Minnesota couple in Walmart. It gets crazier than that. Like already, it sounds like it's going to be a crazy story. But just trust me. Just stay. Just keep listening to the episode because this is a crazy one.
Just a little tease there, Zach. Before we get into these 5 stories, what's going on? Let's drill down to hyperlocal BS. Anything you got going on here you want to get off your chest?
No hyperlocal BS. You know, we my wife and I went up to Jersey City to visit a friend of ours. It was her 30th birthday.
Yeah.
And it was nice. You know, we didn't go out to a bar or, you know, anything like that. We all just, it was like about 8 of us. And we went to this park in Jersey City. I think it's Liberty Park. And, you know, it's like right in front of the Statue of Liberty. We had this nice spot. We all social distance, you know, we took our mask off because we were drinking and stuff. But, you know, no bullshit. It was a nice chill weekend. How about you?
It's nice to get out and about and take in the sights. So that's good. Did you run in any protests or any chaos or anything along the way?
No protesters or chaos.
It's weird. It seems like because there's sort of 2 sides to this, which is I think during the day most things are calm, even in like some of the hot spots and the bad places, and then the creeps come out at night to do damage. So I guess if you just sort of keep your head down and I guess, you know, avoid some of the areas at night, then you're not going to be subject to getting caught up in some bunch of nonsense. Yeah.
Did you ever see the movie I'm Legend?
Yeah.
Where Will Smith, you know, at nighttime the zombies would come out. You'd have to like lock down his house and like board up the windows, and you just hear him out there like being loud and like killing things like that. That's what the United States is right now.
Pretty much. Oh, it's a bunch of nonsense, and we've certainly been covering that on Facebook and here on the YouTube channel. Check that out if you hadn't seen. Or by now, you know, I think I led the charge here. And after I did that video, all that footage seemed to explode out on the internet. So I'm going to take credit for bringing that to everyone's attention. All right, so let's get to story number 1, Zach. Oh, just briefly here, I don't have any. I'm a happy man. I'm doing good. I don't have anything to complain about. So
good.
We're just
happy for you.
This thing, and
by the time we're all settled and like ready to go, we're all going to have to like get back out into the world. Like, you know what I mean? Then we're not going to be used to how things used to be. So
there are some optimistic takes that I've heard of this thing we could be 4 weeks out. That there is some evidence that the outbreaks in Florida, Texas, Arizona, California, that we had that second wave, and now it's cresting and it's going back down again. And if it does, then we could be looking at possibly a more normal Labor Day, or going back to what we thought was going to what happened in Memorial Day could be back to Labor Day. So I don't know. I'm trying to be optimistic about it. We can't do this forever, right? We can't live like this.
Yeah, you got to stay optimistic because it's the only way we're not going to like blow our brains out, right?
I know. I had to hide the key so I didn't bust into the safe and do that. No, I'm just kidding. All right, let's get into story number 1, Zach. The opening baseball is open, or baseball had its opening weekend to a lot of pomp and circumstance, and people, you know, America loves baseball, and so it was good to see some live sports come back again. but they're doing some weird things, which is they don't have any stand or fans in the stands. So there's some hilarity about that. But to kick off the proceedings, we had Dr. Fauci throw the opening pitch. So let's take a look at this one.
Dr. Fauci, when you're ready, it's your pitch.
There's a windup. And Christ.
Bit outside. I love how he threw his arms up like it was the catcher's ball.
Oh, just a bit outside.
Just a bit outside.
It's really pathetic, and I think the best opening pitch ever was George W. Bush after 9/11, where he threw an absolute strike right down the middle.
Yeah.
This is pathetic. I mean,
yeah. It's like, some people argue he doesn't even know infectious disease. He definitely doesn't know how to throw a pitch, but some people would say he doesn't know how to infectious diseases either.
Well, I mean, you'd think they would. Well, this is just a source of embarrassment, right? I mean, it kind of takes him down a peg just a tiny bit, because don't you think?
Yeah, I always wondered about these people that come in to throw like first pitches, and like you can tell they're trying to like. Either he doesn't know how to throw a baseball, or he's trying too hard to like make it look like he's throwing a major league pitch. Like, why don't you just like do a nice, easy like father-son playing catch throw? You know what I mean? It's just ceremonial anyway. It's not like you're trying to strike someone out.
No, and there's no fans there either.
Yeah.
So there's a lot less pressure. You're not getting stared at by 50,000 people.
Yeah.
And although you probably get in your head a little bit like. If I'm on a mound and Zach, you're standing there by home plate, I'm going to throw the ball and I'm going to get it right to your glove, right? But if it's like that pressure, maybe I don't know if I'd throw it that bad, but
yeah,
I might one hop it to you or something.
I really wish there was fans in the crowd for that, so we could have heard like snicker, like.
And that. So we got Fauci there, by the way, and then Fauci was caught, or I don't know if caught is the right word, but he was said there was no fans, but in fact, Dr. Fauci was allowed to sit in the stands. It was him, his wife, and a third person, and this was going around. You probably saw this on Twitter, Zach, of how he was sitting there without his mask. So there was the whole thing about that. What do you think of that?
I thought it was funny. They were arguing because he's not, it's just him and two other people, right? If I'm in a room with me and my wife and my best friend, I'm not going to wear a mask.
Right.
I feel like if there was a crowd full of people like in the stands, he would have had a mask on. It's interesting to me that the guy next to him had a face mask on though in the picture.
Yeah, and I think the wife had his on too. So Fauci was the only one with it off. So I guess that was
maybe he was like, haha, you guys got your mask on, I'm taking mine off. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, for a practical purpose, I agree. It doesn't make any sense. But he is, I guess it matters because he's the symbol of science and best practices about things like wearing a mask. So for him to not be wearing it.
Yeah. He's like telling the entire country to wear a mask, and then he has to sit outside in front of a camera with one for however many hours like that game was. And he's like, son of a bitch, this sucks. Yep.
You know what, Fauci? You're going to have to smell your hot dog breath for 3 hours. You're just going to have to deal with it because you're the symbol.
Yeah.
But the other thing, though, maybe a bit of bullshit about that is one. Well, maybe a level of bullshit. Don't let a man who can't throw a baseball throw the opening pitch. Number one. Number two, and the thing with the mask is that I really don't like what we've all become, which is we're in like this crazy snitch culture now. It's just point your phone at someone and then report them to the Twitter mob kind of a thing. I mean. I was never one that tattled, as a kid, and I always hated tattletales and snitch. Well, snitches are slightly different, but just tattletales basically is what I would call them. And I don't like that. That rubs me the wrong way. What do you think?
I agree, and I think the argument on both sides, whether you're an anti-masker or a masker, is like it's getting really like violent and angry between both of those sides. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like a lot of anger on both of those sides, and it's like you go on social media, and it's just so many arguments on both ways. Like I saw one this morning that was like yelling at people to wear face masks, saying it makes it easier for pedophiles to snatch your kids when everyone's wearing a face mask. Yeah. I'm like, how are you going to compare like wearing a face mask to like a pedophile snatching your kid? You know what I mean? Like that is like the ultimate way to make someone feel like shit for wearing a mask when really it's just,
Well, is there any evidence that this has happened? I mean, I don't.
No, I think the only thing was saying that, it was, there was some statistic that said like a child is like 100,000 times more likely to get abducted and sold into sex trafficking than to die by COVID-19. It was some statistic like that. It wasn't that number. So don't
but
going crazy on that number. But that's what it was. But
see that that is interesting, and I think that's a stupid point to make on its own, because first of all, both of these things are rare, I guess, right? Kids, kids do get kidnapped, but I mean, it's pretty rare for a kid to just get snatched off the street and sold into sex slavery, I would think.
I would think so too, but apparently Wayfair is doing it, so
Yeah, Wayfair is up. Please don't mention that. We're going to end up getting kicked off of YouTube for that. But relative risk, I guess, is my point, and that's been, I guess, one of the fights has been relative risk of this whole thing with kids with COVID. There doesn't seem to be a big. I mean, they can get it possibly, and they could possibly spread it. We don't really know because we don't seem to have a lot of data on what happens with kids, at least here in the United States. But this idea of, I saw something going on Twitter about car crashes or something, and of course it's not the same as an infectious disease, but many people die. Should we? It's this idea of that because there's a danger, we have to stop all, try to eliminate all risk, but we don't do that with, say, traffic accidents. And believe this is not a one-to-one analogy, but this relative risk, I think, has been one of the fights. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I agree with that, relative risk, and I think people just are looking for any argument they can just to defend their point of view.
Oh, well, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I know, but it's just yeah. But it's just like, how are you going to compare like car accidents? How are you going to compare your child being abducted to like wearing a face mask?
No, it's not
those correlations. It's just everyone's finding everything to pull out of their ass to like defend them just not wanting to wear a mask. I mean, that's just what it comes down to, right? You don't want to wear a mask. You don't want to go in public and wear a mask.
Just fine. Don't do it.
Yeah.
And for me, the relative risk is I'd rather just throw the mask on because I think it significantly reduces my risk. And the relative risk that, I just make sure I just keep an eye on my kid, and then no one's going to sneak up and take that. I don't know. It's like, I don't want to get COVID, and I'll just make sure no one steals my kid, kind of a deal. It's okay. You can do both at once.
Yeah, I put on my seatbelt when I drive my car, but it's not like I still don't want to get into an accident. You know what I mean? Like
you don't speed, you stop at the red light, and you do defensive driving or something like that. So you do things to mitigate your risk to these bad things. Yeah, this is pretty simple. Why does everyone have to yell at each other?
Yeah.
The thing going on with no fans in the stand is they've come up with some. Well, I don't know if I'd call it creative ways of of getting things going and getting the fans going. I've got a couple of videos here I want to play because they're doing cardboard cutouts and even CGI. Let's take a look at some of these, some of the highlights from opening weekend.
Against Mets, head to head, and this breaking ball ripped toward right.
And bam!
Oh,
that's a dog. That was a good one.
That's excellent.
We got one here. Another one here.
After seeing a couple balls up and in,
I mean, look at those cardboard cutouts. That's absurd.
Oh yeah.
And here we go. Blam. Look at this. So they've got the Philly Fanatic. Now they got the cardboard cutouts. I guess only the 3-4 rows up, and what's he doing here? He's trying to get the crowd going.
They need to give that man or woman, whoever is under the Fanatic costume, they need to give them a raise because the videos from this game are incredible.
Yeah, they are.
And I was watching it and it made me think, what is Fanatic? What is it supposed to be? You know what I mean? Like I don't know if you're familiar with the Flyers mascot. What is it? Gritty? Like what the hell is that thing? But I was looking up Fanatic. I was looking up what it is, and it said, according to Wikipedia, Fanatic is a large, furry, green, bipedal, flightless bird with an expendable tongue. And I was reading, I was like, that's what they should have named the Washington football team. The Washington large, furry, green, bipedal, flightless birds with expendable tongues.
Oh, that's hilarious. Well, I would have said the horrifying monster, but I think that description, it does fit. I mean, what in God's name is? Yeah, well, you just described that creature, but it still doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
How is that a bird? I don't. And why is he trying to rally cardboard cutouts? I don't know.
There's a good video of him trying to do the wave at this game. It's
Oh
incredible.
yeah, I got it right. Yeah, here, this is. He doesn't look very happy here. Here he is. It's just. It's like a half-hearted. Oh, there we go. Now he stands this time. Oh, this is pathetic. All right, that's enough of that. And then I got one more here. The digital fans. That's what. So this comes from. This is a Fox broadcast, and here we are. Now look at these. They're just doing. The guy leaning on his shoulder.
It's a ton of guys leaning on their shoulders.
Or on their knee, rather. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same. This is worse than like video games.
It is. And then you see like a 2-second delay on like.
Yeah, because the strikeout.
Yeah. And then it's like they wait a second. Then it's like, oh, like.
Okay, so we had news from the Florida Marlins that I don't know, like a dozen players and a couple of coaches.
It was 14, I think, total.
Yeah, they tested positive for COVID-19. They canceled 2 games. It caused a lot of betting, betting sites and what's the fantasy like DraftKings, people like that. They tanked in the market because they canceled 2 games. But the MLB says that they're not considering shutting down the season over this. So I don't know. Yeah. I mean, the Marlins, they are out of Miami. It's one of the worst spots in the country for COVID-19. I don't know what their procedures are, but that's a lot. I guess the team basically has an outbreak of this.
Yeah.
So
the Orioles already flew home. They left. I just saw it this morning that they already came home.
Is that right?
Yeah, they're already on their way back. And there was an article about Fauci, an ESPN article. I guess they interviewed Fauci about this, and he said like them having so many players like inactive is going to affect the rest of the MLB season that we're going to have. He says he doesn't think it's going to be canceled right away, but this article made it seem like Fauci was saying MLB is not going to be around for that much longer because of this.
Well, they canceled 2 games. I mean, I guess I don't know if they've got enough players. If more people get it, then if one team can't play, that kind of puts a monkey wrench in the whole operation, right? Because all those other games have to be played against other teams. So, and then who knows what's coming next if another team gets players that test positive too, and then they got to cancel.
Yeah. And I mean, I know they probably weren't around. The O's probably weren't around any of the Marlins players, but they still had to have been in the facilities. You know what I mean? Working out, doing whatever. So who knows if the O's people on the O's catch it, and then they give it to another team, and then it starts to spread. Because
it's not just the players. You've got equipment people. You've got doctors. You've got a whole video.
Yeah, people. Trainers. I mean, all the managers, I can't think of the word. The health trainers. The people that are there wrapping up their ankles. Doctors, whatever. Yeah. Team doctors. They're going to spread it around. All those players have been in contact with so many other people. They had to have been. So
these are large organizations with lots of employees. Just I mean, it's a staff of all kinds. I mean, these are basically big corporations that they've got millions of dollars, that they have a large payroll, and people are in and out of the building. I mean, I don't know what to the extent, like I said, that they're trying to separate the players, but it probably will end up working its way through the staff. That's my guess. Now, there's in terms of that's all I had on this act. In terms of BS, we've got this sort of multiple levels of BS. We've got Fauci, picking the worst guy that can't throw a baseball to throw the opening pitch. We also got Fauci in the stands, another level of BS. Then we've got the fanless stands. We've got cardboard cutouts, CGI, a lot of bullshit there. And then the possibility, which I consider bullshit, that the whole season might be over very soon because COVID's spreading. So I don't know if you're ready to give
I am.
BSometer.
So MLB, I'm going to go low on this one. I'm going to go 3.
3, yeah.
Because I'm happy they're even trying to get some kind of baseball in.
I agree that they're trying. I don't think they tried hard enough selecting an opening pitcher, but I do think they're trying. And even even the cardboard cutouts, which I think are stupid, and the CGI, that is actually something.
Yeah.
It's kind of stupid, but it is better than nothing. So
Yeah.
I'm with you there. I'm not gonna do a Zach and go 4, so I'm gonna just go a little bit higher to 5, because there is a lot of silliness going around here.
Yeah.
But, and I do hope that the season continues and that this Marlins thing is just an aberration. And so I mean, the least we can get is for America is to have some baseball. So. All right, so that was story number 1. Zach, let's move on to story number 2. There's a fight going on in New York and in Governor Cuomo regarding, because they have these laws, places around the country, New York, I'm thinking in Maryland, Zach, where you are, here in Florida, they've loosened alcohol. They've loosened the laws, restrictions for how you can serve alcohol. So, like here, they've allowed to go now here curbside pickup for alcohol, and I think some places where you can drink on the streets and stuff like that, whereas you weren't allowed to do that before. So some of those things have been loosened. And in New York, by the way, what have they done anything in Maryland in terms of allowing more things?
So no, they're kind of turning it back a little bit. There's more restrictions as far as like outdoor gatherings and events, but not so much bars. But what has been happening in Baltimore is that a lot of places are shutting down, like in waves, because not necessarily they're ordered to shut down, but it's just like these bar owners and restaurant owners are being responsible and saying, we have had staff test positive, so we're shutting down the restaurant.
Wow.
So it's been a lot of places that have been shut down recently.
And I wonder, for the safety of the staff, but also, I mean, are they closing down to never open again? Is it just not? Can they not even make enough money in some instances to keep the business going? Is it just better? Is it just going to be shut down?
Yeah, I don't know. And I mean, we've seen stories like this all the time that we've posted on informedamerican.com and all kinds of stuff. I mean, there was that one back in Baltimore where there was a restaurant in Charles Village that said they couldn't afford to pay their people to do like curbside delivery, or something like that. It's.
Well, I got my hair cut over the weekend, and I was talking to my barber, and he's like, normally pre-COVID, I would walk in there and there'd be I go to see one guy, and I only go see him, and if he's not there, I leave, and if he's there, I wait usually, and sometimes I'll have to wait 2 or 3 people ahead of me. So sometimes I'm there for 45 minutes or an hour to get my hair cut, which is fine. I think it's worth it. But I walked in on a Saturday morning, normally slammed, and he was there doing nothing, and he's like, I don't think this place is going to stay open much longer. So he's doing his independent stuff. This is a place that was busy out the door, always people, and now our habits.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
A little bit, and then they never go back.
Yeah. How many seats is that barbershop?
I don't know, 20.
Yeah, that's still a good amount if there's 20 seats, and then they got like that's kind of like how my barber is. I mean, 20 seats, and they usually social distance, so they don't have you don't have someone in a chair next to you, right?
Yeah, right.
And it's pretty popular. Like when I went, it's all appointment only, and when I went there, I got there at 9, and it was like every appointment appointment for that 9 o'clock was like waiting at line to get in.
Okay.
So it was like they had one person every other chair. So they weren't making as much business as before, but they're still doing pretty decent.
Yeah, no walk-ins or anything like that. Well, I hope businesses like that can find a way to survive because if you're only, everybody's got rent, everyone's got bills, and if you're not making enough income, then it becomes a failed business. So unfortunately. But anyway, we were talking about the situation there's a thing about serving alcohol, and of course the controversy over having bars opened up here in Florida. They closed them down again after reopening, and it is one of the riskiest things you can do in terms of the spread. We just have a whole bunch of people drinking, talking, shouting, yelling, hugging, and then kissing or whatever in bars, whatever people do, getting close. So what they do is to get around you being classified as a bar, you have to sell a certain amount. You have to be able to provide some sort of food, so that way you can avoid the bar description and become, I guess, a restaurant. We got here. Let's just get to the video for Governor Cuomo of what he says is allowed and not allowed.
You had to have food available, soups, sandwiches, etc.
I love his
more than just
sign language
hors
guy.
d'oeuvres, chicken wings. You had to have some substantive food. The lowest level of substantive food were sandwiches.
So Cuomo, not my favorite.
Everybody's favorite governor. Yeah.
To be a bar, you gotta serve something substantial, not chicken wings. You need to sell a sandwich.
Yeah.
Or
Man,
some in the area they call it, as Italians like us, they call it a sandwich.
sandwich.
But anyways, so what's not substantial? I don't think this man has ever eaten a plate of chicken wings and not call them substantial, because that's a dinner in my mind.
I mean, we have a good video that we made like probably a week or two ago when bars and restaurants started to do this. Well, I guess bars, and it was like some of the most outrageous menus that like bars in New York have done. It was like $1 for a handful of croutons. It was like someone did like $1 for I think like 9 French fries. It was like it was basically like the smallest shit, just so people can have an excuse to have a bar and drink.
Well, I mean, a sandwich is, you could just do a peanut butter and jelly. That's on white bread. That's nothing.
Can of Campbell's soup for $1, right? That's that could be considered substantial. People get soup for their dinner all the time, right?
Of course.
Yeah. I think there was a quote that Cuomo said on his Twitter account that was funny to me that says, "Let's be clear, outdoor dining is permitted, outside drinking is not permitted." And that kind of cracked me up because I was like, I feel like outside drinking, I don't know. I feel like drinking is probably better than eating, because like when you're drinking, you're not like constantly, depending on how much you want to party, you're not constantly like just drinking. You take a drink and then you stop, in a couple seconds or minutes or whatever, you take another drink, right? I feel like it's easier to keep your face mask on longer if you're somewhere that has rules with face masks.
I agree 100%. And it's so, and you can set up a bar just like they set up outdoor dining for restaurants. You have tables, you can do some distancing and keep an eye on it. And I think people generally will comply to some bit. And, so you serve some chicken. There's nothing wrong with chicken wings.
There's a brewery near my house that you can only sit at a pub table. You can't sit at the bar. You can't stand up and congregate. And every single pub table has plastic sheeting around it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like full plastic sheeting around it. So it's like you are completely like I know my wife is really uncomfortable if we go out, it has to be outdoor. Like she does not want to go outside. Yeah. But she was like, that's the one place she will go because they're like so, it looks like you're in a fucking like hazmat room or something like that. Each pub table. It's wild.
Like the bubble boy from Seinfeld.
Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty cool. And the other thing in me is like outdoor dining. Like I assume he was fine with all the protesters that were outside by the thousands, and that's such a bigger argument. You can say that about so many things, but like outdoor dining and outdoor drinking. I mean, like as long as everyone's not packed in like sardines, you know what I mean? Like what's the big deal?
Yeah, there was a New Jersey gym that got shut down because gym is another one. I saw this yesterday, and I guess it was raided by the cops because this owner wouldn't he refused to close down. And then, so, and of course, and this has been going around all over social media, which is just declare yourself Black Lives Matter or declare yourself a protest gym and you'll be okay, because that literally is okay. The one thing you're allowed to do is protest. Everything else, no. And you gotta have a soup. You gotta have a sandwich. You can't have hot wings. It's weird because it's like you're like oppressive on one hand and then completely turning a blind eye on the other hand, right? I think that was your point.
I guess it's just you're trying to like figure out which group of people are not going to give you the most shit for you, like, putting rules on them, right? Obviously, if you put rules on protesters, they're already protesting, so that's not going to go over well. And then
what are you suggesting? They're afraid of the mob?
Yeah, are they afraid of the mafia? Yeah, this is like completely off topic. Did you watch Fear City yet on Netflix?
I have not.
Oh man,
what's that about?
Oh, it's a good show. It's about like the New York mafia in like the 70s and 80s, about how they completely ran all of New York City. It's like you watch it, I'm like, this doesn't feel that much different than like our current like climate.
Oh man. Interesting there. No, I haven't. I did see the trailer on Netflix. I'm like, oh, this looks interesting. And then I don't know. I get overwhelmed with Netflix. I just sit there a lot of times.
It's easy too, yeah.
Scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll. I find like a dozen things I kind of want to see, but then I end up just throwing on The Office or something.
Yeah, I watched an episode of that last night, and then like I was like, well, I was like, man, now I want to watch The Sopranos. So I was up until like 2 a.m, like just watching like everything like mafia related.
So you'd recommend it then? So maybe I'll put that one
It was
on my
good.
list.
Yeah, put it on your list.
All right. Do you have anything more on the chicken wing controversy?
That's it.
All right. No, this isn't massive BS, but I don't like Cuomo, and I don't like as you said, the pointing in the double standards here. And the difference between a sandwich and a hot wing to me is stupid, or a bowl of soup. I mean, just some hot water or something. Yeah. So I'm gonna go 6 on this. What do you got?
Oh, 6.
All right. Got a copycat here, so we got 8 and then 12. So right now 12.
You know what? I get all my BS numbers laid out beforehand. So
You do? Okay. Look at you. Coming prepared with your scores. All right.
I know.
Zach, let's move on to story number 3. This one, I don't know why this one hasn't gotten a lot of attention. We got a shade of this. I think we covered this, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago on a show out of some news that trickled out about UFOs. And now we've got more. It basically, a completely explosive quote. Let's get to this. This story comes from the UK Independent. A Pentagon unit will make a Pentagon UFO unit will make some investigations public as ex-advisors suggest that vehicles not made on the Earth were placed in U.S. government storage. The team will update, so that now they're going to be more forthcoming about this stuff, Zach. And yeah, one former official, Eric Davis, told the New York Times that he briefed the U.S. Department of Defense in March about retrieval of off-world vehicles not made on this Earth. The Pentagon consultant and subcontractor says he objects. Says the objects he believed we couldn't make ourselves were discovered during his time in the unit when he worked in 2007, and unfortunately, we don't have any evidence of any of these vehicles. But this is a really explosive comment, isn't it, Zach?
Yeah, I want to see pictures, because like the only thing we've seen so far is that like the fighter jet like footage, where he's chasing something, but you can't even tell what that is. It almost looks like the sun almost, something weird. It doesn't even look like it's really moving.
No, it's hard to make it out. Yeah, there's
you can't really tell what it is, but I want to see high definition like pictures, like whatever happened to Storm Area 51 back in September. Do you remember all that when that was going down? The whole petition where everyone was supposed to line up in the desert and like storm Area 51 to find all the shit. That's what like I want to happen. I want to see. They already said outside of this world, it's alien. Like that's, what I mean? What else could be outside of this world, right?
Now, right. No, clearly. Now, see, the BS here is there's a couple levels here on this, which is they're going to make these comments but not show us anything, right? Yeah. And then see the thing about Storm Area 51 and all this stuff, I do wonder if this is the shiny object that they show you to distract you from things. If this is all just disinformation, forget about COVID, forget about rioting in all over American cities, forget about the election. Here's an alien. There's aliens.
That's my thing with all this BS. Like, why now?
Yeah.
Right. Why now? Why are they just dripping all this out now?
Because this is twice now in COVID they've come out with bombshell UFO stuff. Yeah. Never before seen footage, and now this one line quote, off-world vehicles. There's another one here too that you and I were talking about. By the way, of course, we got genius Senator Marco Rubio, who we dunk on quite a lot. He's the one here. He says we have things flying over our military bases and places where we are conducting military exercise. We don't know what it is, and it isn't ours, said Rubio. Now, if you want to hear, if there's, how do I say this? When Marco Rubio says something, assume it's not his thought. It's not his original thought. It's something that his handlers or bundlers or whatever you want to call it, in my opinion, are telling him to say. Yeah. And that's what makes me more suspicious of this. Just my thought, just my opinion. But listen to this quote, though, something I know this one caught your eye. It says, frankly, that if it's something from outside this planet, that might actually be better than the fact that we've seen some technological leap on behalf of the Chinese or the Russians or some other adversary, said Mr. Rubio. What do you think of this?
It really doesn't sound like his voice when you put it. Like, I think to him, like when he was on the debates and everything like that, it really doesn't sound like his voice.
No.
But it's hilarious either way. He's basically saying, I'd rather the entire world to be fucked than just the United States to be fucked, is what he's saying.
Well, God forbid it's aliens who destroy the entire planet.
Yeah.
That's okay, but better not be the Chinese or the Russians.
Yeah. I mean,
What the hell is that?
I don't know. I feel like they would stick away from us. They come down to the U.S. and see everything that's going on right now. They're probably like, yeah, let's focus on the other parts of the world first before we go to the U.S. Yeah. They're like, they go in here and they're like, man, it's a war zone down there. Let's focus on someone else first, and then we'll come back. We'll work our way around the U.S.
Well, let's entertain the idea that this could be. Let's say this is Chinese or Russian stuff. Maybe supersonic drones or God knows what else. Just because it doesn't look like any of these objects are particularly large, at least from the footage. As you said, the footage is it's almost useless.
Yeah, it's not like Independence Day where it blocks out the sun and covers, as far as the eye can see.
No, it is not like that Hollywood movie. Unfortunately, that's kind of how our image in our minds of what this is all comes from Hollywood.
Welcome to Earth.
Now, would this scare you at all if this was Chinese or Russian tech that's being flown around the U.S. at ridiculous speeds that could do things that we could never do? Or do you think that's possible? Do you buy that? Are you worried?
I'd be more scared of aliens, I think.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I think I'd be more worried about that.
Well, okay, so let me ask this in a different way. Let's assume there's two choices. Well, there's three, I guess. Well, to me, there's three choices, actually. This is U.S. tech that they're not telling us. This is Chinese or Russian tech that they don't know about. Or it's alien tech. Which are the most likely of the three?
The most likely of the three? Oh, God. Well, if there's unidentified objects, I guess obviously it's going to be, if they're saying this shit's off this world, it's obviously going to be aliens. But, I mean, obviously man-made is probably more accurate. I think, so like aliens, if aliens showed up with giant weapons, like they're just here to kill us. Like there's nothing, there's nothing else about it. Where I feel like if there is other like crazy technology from China or Russia, like when you have these big military weapons, it's more of a deterrent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's more of a weapon deterrent. It doesn't mean that they're going to use them to blast us away like today. You know what I mean? It's
right, because we're no threat to the aliens, right? Any alien civilization that can make its way to Earth is no fear of us.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, if they're gonna come, you can't fight them. So just you lay down and die and hope that they're nice.
Yeah, they obviously have the technology to get here, which is probably the most basic form of technology. So if you cannot imagine what kind of weapons they have.
And I think the most likely is it's our own tech that just because a couple of random fighter pilots have never seen anything like it or whatever, it doesn't mean that it's not ours. But this comment here, off-world vehicles, you can't just say it. You gotta show me some proof. You gotta put your money where your mouth is here. Yeah. I think that's the main BS for me. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that. I want to see pictures.
And to that, I'm ready to give a rating. To that, I think this is high-level BS because I do feel like this is the second time during the COVID pandemic they've leaked out UFO news, and I think it's just to distract us. And I even think, I don't know, I think there's a lot of stuff out there to get you chasing down stupid rabbit holes, and I think this is another one of them. So I'm gonna give this thing an 8.
8?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 5.
Okay, great, and that totals 13. And now UFOs are in the lead. All right, put down the BSometer. Let's move on to story number 4, Zach, the one that we teased. This one makes me feel dirty, but we teased it. What we talked about, a couple in Minnesota walking around in a Walmart, and some controversy around that. And it is as bad as you might guess. Minnesota, this comes from crooksandliars.com, and there's also a companion CNN story. Minnesota couple sport swastika masks in Walmart. We want to go ahead. Let's just cue up the video here and let's get into this. Look at this. So they're checking out here at aisle 3, and whoops.
Yeah.
Look
Okay.
at her. Look at her. Hey.
You can't be American and wear that mask. You cannot.
Middle finger.
We literally had a war about this.
Yeah. So they're out there, not afraid, being confrontational, wearing the mask.
I mean, that's beyond
You're wearing the
confrontational.
swastika.
This is. The husband, the poor husband. I feel like
You're
I think
sick.
he's
You're
under.
literally wearing a Nazi flag right
I think he's
now.
under duress here. I don't know. He doesn't seem to really be into it. Well, maybe a little bit there. I mean, the wife's definitely out there.
You're sick.
Yeah, you saw
We literally had a fucking war about this. The Nazis lost.
for good reason.
Okay, I think we see what's going on here. Now, there was a quote here, and I want to be clear about something. These are not Nazis. These are, they're trying to make a point, and if you heard the quote there, she says, this is what's going to happen if Biden gets elected. So it's, I'm not the Nazi, the guy, I'm showing you that, because we've seen this with I think face masks. We touched on this a little bit earlier, Zach. This idea of it's an oppression, the mask, this whole thing. It's a violation of my freedom. And making everybody wear a mask is just like Nazi Germany, and that's coming from people like Joe Biden. Joe Biden's the real Nazi. Does that clear? What I just? I think that was their point.
Their point's clear, but it doesn't make any sense because
No, it doesn't make any sense. So.
It doesn't make any fucking sense.
No.
She said, I think one of the quotes she said in the video was, "If you elect Joe Biden, a socialist, we're going to be socialism." Like Nazi wasn't socialism. It was not the same. Yeah, it was. Yeah, Nazi stands for National Socialist Party or whatever, but it's not socialism.
Yeah, she's like, socialism is going to happen here in America, and yes. So I just wanted to be clear that just in case, not that they're watching, but I want to be clear that we're not defaming them as Nazis, but this is, this is really well, they're doing it to themselves, so I don't think like I have to defend them at all. It's like, this is a very stupid thing to do, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
They're lucky they got out of there with without getting their asses kicked or something.
This is so much worse than when we talked about last week when with the Trump logo where people were saying it was Nazi. Like that alone, which wasn't a swastika, got people all riled up. So these people are legitimately wearing a symbol of even more than hate, genocide, like one of the worst things to ever happen in world history. They're wearing this symbol of it, and I don't care what you're trying to say. It's bullshit. It's terrible and it's awful. It's disgusting. Is it? You know what I mean?
I'm trying to think of another example of this, and I'm struggling. To basically don the uniform of the thing that you are claiming to fight against is a strange tactic.
Yeah. It's awful. And, they're there to start a fight. I mean, literally, like what is the first thing she does? Like she literally bagging up groceries and turns around and goes like this. And then
flip the bird. Yeah.
One of those numbers, you know what I mean? She's obviously trying to start a fight. And I don't think it's working out in their favor.
This is really weird. I just don't understand. Now, by the way, they're now the reason why I mentioned the companion CNN story is that now Walmart has banned them. They're not allowed to go into Walmart ever again. So I guess there's something there. I mean, they'll just go into Target, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, God, if you would have wore a Confederate flag mask, that would have gotten people riled up. Just think about like that. Like a Nazi symbol is so much worse. And like, of course, this is not going to end well for you.
Yeah. I mean, well, there's a lot of symbols so it'd be like, I don't know. So it's maybe trying to think of an analogy here. So maybe you walk into Portland during the protest with the Confederate flag around your body, and then you say, you people are the real Confederates, the real separatists, because they're fighting against the government, kind of a thing. Is that sort of analogous? But that's not going to work. No,
it's not. The way I thought of it is like, okay, there's a lot of people that say that, the Trump administration is racist, right?
Yeah.
What if someone showed up to a Trump rally dressed in a full-fledged like Ku Klux Klan uniform saying this is what's going to happen to our country if you're elected?
Right.
That would be equally as fucking awful.
It's
right. Regardless if you believe that or not, that would be so terrible and awful. Like these are symbols of hate and oppression and murder, and it's genocide. And it's disgusting.
And putting it on yourself and then to say, no, that's not me is very dumb. So I don't know maybe they protest tactics 101 or something. This is get a failing grade.
It's a failed attempt at performance art, I think.
Yeah, basically. Interesting thing here is I guess they were served with trespass notices. Oh, okay. So warning them if they'd be arrested if they returned to Walmart. So the cops were called, and then this gives this CNN story. If anyone wants to look this up, because Walmart bans couple seen in video wearing the Nazi swastika on their face coverings. If you want to Google that and then read some of the quotes in their totality. But clearly, this is such BS. So stupid, you guys. I just, now I got to deal with this. Yeah, we're talking about the Eagle, as you said, 2 weeks ago, and that was just, to me, that was a total non-controversy. And I know we walked through it, and totally stupid. And then idiots go and do this shit. So you got since you already wrote this thing down. So what do you have for a rating on this?
9.
9 here. Yep. 2 9s. And now we've got it looks like a commanding lead now. I mean, look at the board here. So then as our final, this is a little spoiler. We got a seed story. Baseball, chicken wings, UFO, swastika seed.
I told you it was going to be a good episode.
It's got a lot of crazy shit. So let's wrap up the crazy shit with our final story. This one comes from Yahoo News. And this has been reported all over the place. But people in the U.S. have reported receiving packages marked as jewelry that actually contain mysterious seeds from China. Zach, what the freaking hell, man?
Yeah. First of all, if I get a package from anybody that has my name on it, like I'm going to be pretty hesitant to open it. I want, like, the one thing I couldn't just get from the articles I've seen is like, are these happening to people that are ordering jewelry?
That doesn't say. No, I don't.
Or like my wife orders jewelry every week. I don't know why. She always gets like handmade jewelry from people for like dirt cheap. Like I'm wondering if we're going to get a package of seeds in the mail.
Well, my wife buys a lot of clothes on Amazon, and almost every single, and I wish this wasn't the case, but almost every single package comes from the U.S. Postal Service, because the U.S. Postal Service subsidizes packages shipped overseas from China. That's a whole other discussion. Why we do that, I don't know. But they come in a bag, and it's Chinese writing on it. And in there is your Amazon order. It's not your typical Amazon delivery. It comes in this package from China. So I guess it's something like that with writing, and they open up. Maybe it doesn't say if they order or not. It says several people across the United States have reported receiving packages marked as jewelry. Maybe this is just a way to get you to open, like an old classic scam. In this story, some Utah residents told Fox 13 that they received small packages with Chinese writing. And then, of course, the seeds. And this is basically happening all around the country. Now, people are saying, don't plant these seeds because we don't know what these things are. Is it invasive species? Don't even, and to your point, Zach, asking why should you, they say not even open, don't open anything you don't know, because who the hell knows? Who knows what China's trying to do to us? They're giving us,
right?
I mean,
we just talked about UFOs, saying that technology might be there. It's like maybe this is a new form of biological warfare that they're sending over to the United States.
Right, and they're sending it to, it sounds like they're not sending it to, I don't know. It sounds like they're sending it to states who grow things, I guess is my point. Yeah. Maybe there's some sort of a weird invasive species, something that could take over, ruin crops. Who the hell knows? Could there be poison in there? I don't know. And didn't you say you saw something on this too, right?
I was reading one article. I was like down a rabbit hole over the weekend about this because it popped up in Maryland. Like I saw on Facebook, the Maryland Department of Agriculture put out a big notice online everywhere about it, telling people not to open them and contact the Department of Agriculture because they're working with Homeland Security or something to figure out what's going on here. Yeah. But then there was one quote that was like one person we interviewed said that they had already planted them. Like,
what an idiot!
Come on, man. It's like,
well, I got my seeds here. I just got to throw them in the ground, throw some water on it.
Well, maybe they'll like come like maybe it'll be like Stranger Things, and like the Department of Homeland Security will show up and just completely take over this area and like contain it, so they can be like, okay, let's see what the hell this thing is now. You know what I mean? You already planted it, so what the hell?
Oh my God. Yeah. So we've got Virginia, Kansas, Washington, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Utah. And then you mentioned, I haven't heard anything from Florida. I'm sure they're out there too. And then you mentioned Maryland. Listen to this. It's unclear. And I did throw up while you were talking, I threw up a picture of these seeds. I don't know what the hell these, I mean, I don't know one seed from another. The only seed I know is sunflower and maybe pumpkin. Other than that, I couldn't identify a seed.
Basically, whatever seeds you eat are the only ones I can recognize.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
This says that invasive species represented a multi-billion-dollar threat for agriculture around the world. And I'm wondering if that's not even, if it's not invasive species. So what would the idea? So China, I mean, this is nuts. But what, they just send, stupid Americans like the guy in Maryland, here's some seeds. He's just like, I got some free seeds. I'll throw them in the ground. And before you know it, it ruins U.S. agriculture. I mean, I think that's the plan?
I have no idea what the plan is. Everything I've read online says that it's some kind of bushing scam, which is basically just a kind of scam where they send people things in the mail. You know what I mean? Then you see it and you buy it. I don't know how it's going to work. Like
free stuff?
Yeah, basically. So it kind of reminds me of a few years ago. This was kind of like this was right around the 2016 election. It might have been right before, but my sister-in-law, they just had their first child, a little girl.
Yeah.
And she was probably like 1, maybe a little bit older at the time. And they got this random package in the mail addressed to her. Didn't know who it was from. Some weird state, weird city they've never been to. And they opened it up and it was a Hillary Clinton action figure.
What the hell?
Yeah. True story. And they called the police and the police showed up and they like tracked down the person it was from. And he was just some kind of like guy that like sends toys to kids and like new kids in the United States. I don't know if it's some kind of charity thing or whatever, but it was like, how did you get their name and address? And they move a lot. They move like a lot because, so it's weird. Like, I don't understand how that worked, but
that's odd. Yeah, there's here from, I'm reading here from National Review. Says, according to the Better Business Bureau, foreign third-party sellers use your address and Amazon information to generate a fake sale and positive review to boost their product ratings, said Phil Wilson, director of Plant Industry Division. Seeds are just one of the items used in the scam. However, you could receive other inexpensive items such as rubber bands, plastic toys, empty bags, or Hillary Clinton action figures. So maybe there's a less nefarious explanation for this. These are just Chinese scammers kind of thing, trying to boost doing fake sales and stuff.
Yeah.
Is that what we think? That's better than the Chinese trying to ruin our agriculture, right?
Yeah, it is much better than that.
I'm still suspicious. I don't trust.
Oh, I'm definitely suspicious. I'm not going to play them. I'm not going to do anything with them.
No. So if you get seeds in the mail, dispose of them. Don't even. Well, if you open the package and see it, just throw them out because it's not anything that is good for you. Unbelievable.
It's just like when you order something from China, you usually know, like, I got a package coming from China. You know what I mean? Like, if you order something really cheap on eBay, you can usually see where it's sent from, or Amazon too. Like, there's been times I've ordered really cheap shit online, and like I'll know it's coming from China, so I expect that package in the mail to have like Chinese writing on it and things like that.
Right. I mean, you do so much online; it's rare that just something shows up you don't know. Yeah, normally you get a notification that the thing shipped or whatever, and you get tracking information. So I would assume that labeling something as jewelry is a way to get people to open the package. But see, that's the thing, because if they don't
like you remember when anthrax was like the big scare, when it was always like, watch out for packages in the mail with powder in them.
Right. Now this is, by then it's too late because you've opened it. What I'm trying to say is, well, if it's just a scam, what do they care about? If it's a fake sale or are they going to try to get you to do a review or something? Because once the thing hits your door, why should they care if you open it?
Yeah, exactly. I have no idea.
I don't either. Just don't trust anything coming out of China is a deal for me. So I mean, that's all I had on that. What did you have for a rating on this one?
I'm gonna go. This is the one I didn't write down because I was waiting to see what we were going to talk about it. 4.
Yeah. I don't know. I just one more thing to worry about, so I'm gonna say 5, and that's 9. Giving us our winner. Swastika. So we got our counting down our top 5 bullshittiest stories of the week. I can never get this right. Wrong. I need something where it looks like a mirror, but it's not the mirror on the broadcast, if that makes sense. Because I'm always doing this wrong.
Yeah.
Anyways, we've got number 5 is baseball. That's surprising. Well, it wasn't a lot of BS, but it was kind of a fun topic. Baseball is number 5. China seeds number 4. Chicken wings, number 3. UFOs, number 1. And our bullshittiest story of the week. Minnesota couple goes into Walmart wearing swastika masks. Thanks a lot, guys.
That is one big pile of shit.
That's a hell of a top 5, don't you think?
Yeah, 100%.
So that's all we have for this week, for this show. I want to thank you all for watching. Of course, we want you all to subscribe to this channel if you're enjoying this content. Of course, hit the like button as well. And Zach, other than our YouTube channel, where can people find out all the other stuff, all the other great stuff that we do?
Yeah, informedamerican.com, realhealthynews.com. You can sign up to get real smart news to your inbox every single day. Of course, you can go to our Big Impact Media YouTube channel. We're constantly posting videos too. If you are finance oriented, keep an eye out because we have a new site, Wall Street Wire, that is launching this week. So all kinds of underground finance tips and topics, and we're just going to be covering a whole bunch of stuff on that.
Absolutely. Very excited. For Zach, I'm Dave, and I've had enough of this BS.
You've been listening to the BS Podcast with Dave and Zach, part of the Informed American Radio Network. Please like and subscribe today in order to get fresh new weekly episodes. Please send us your BS stories to info@informedamerican.com. The world is hard enough, and now we gotta deal with this bullshit.